derivatives of the next four trig functions. So you already have derivative of sine and cosine. We're now going to look at the derivative of tangent, cotangent, secant, and cosecant. And so those are written up there above. It's probably a pretty good idea to have those written down. And so now if you go ahead and look at the first one, it says find the derivative of y. And so if I look at here, the derivative of y is going to be the derivative of x and then the derivative of tangent. What's the derivative of x? 1. What's the derivative of tangent? Secant squared x. So there you go. That's it. That's all. Okay?
Are we having a common test or?
Nope. We'll talk about it. So 1 minus secant squared x. Okay? Oops, skipped it. Let's go back to the next one. Oh my goodness, go back. There we go. So y equals x times the secant of x. So if you remember, what am I going to do here? Product rule. I have two terms. So my first term is here, my next term is here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and write the derivative, remember, below each of those terms. What's the derivative of x? 1. What's the derivative of secant? Secant tangent. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and, remember I crisscross, I start with the first, and I'm going to take that times the derivative of the second. So I really have x times secant x times tangent x plus this way. What do you get from this way? Secant x. Now notice I could factor out a secant x. I don't know if it's going to lead me anywhere. If I factor out a secant x, I get x tangent x plus 1, and I can't reduce that down any. So either of those is acceptable. Okay? Doesn't matter which one. So pretty straightforward. All right, so the final thing we're going to finish out with this section is the higher order derivatives. Now this is actually where you can see some relation to physics, because if you notice, I have there the position, velocity, and acceleration. Now if some of you are wondering what's a higher order derivative, it just means something bigger than 1. So it could mean the second derivative, third derivative, fourth derivative, fifth derivative. And all you do to find those is you just find the derivative of the derivative. Okay? So if I start with my position function, this would be like an object where it is located. Okay? That's given by s of t. The relationship between velocity and position is that the velocity function is the first derivative of the position function. Yeah? Huh? What do you mean writing on this? I would probably have the position, velocity, and acceleration written down. Okay, and then the relationship between velocity and acceleration is another derivative. And so really, the acceleration function is the double derivative of the position function. Okay, and so we're eventually going to look at problems in which you will learn that the acceleration due to gravity is like negative 9.8. I think it's meters per second squared. Okay, and so we will look at problems that deal with those, and that's why we have to look at the higher order derivatives. Now just a little tidbit down below. It says first derivative, second derivative, third derivative, fourth derivative. These are just ways that you can write them. The important ways that you need to know: second derivative can be written second derivative can be written that way. Okay, third derivative can be written the exact same way as the second derivative. It's just one more tick mark and it shows a 3 instead of a 2. And then once you get above 3, they don't put tick marks anymore. You actually write. And notice how you write, you put them in parentheses. The reason why you put them in parentheses is so they don't indicate a power. Okay, so that's why you have to have the parentheses here, because otherwise people would think that's a power. Okay? So I can come back to this slide. We're going to go ahead and look at an example real quick, and then I'll come back to that and you guys can finish writing on that. Okay? It says find the second derivative of. Really easy problem. In fact, I could probably have it done by the time that you write it down. So let's start. What's the first derivative? 20x cubed minus 9x squared plus 4x. So that's the first derivative, right? Mm-hmm. Now we got to find the second derivative. So all I'm going to do is take the derivative of what's written in blue. So 60x squared. Now I could actually find the third derivative by taking the derivative of what's in the pink. And then I could take the fourth derivative by what's, ever the derivative of that. But that's how the higher order derivatives work. They aren't any more difficult. Okay, and so then that's it. That's your answer. Okay. So now you should be able to finish your assignment. Remember from yesterday, your assignment is on pages 126 through 128, 1 through 15 the odd, 29, 30, 39 through 46, 93, and 94. Probably have a short quiz tomorrow. Okay. Over product rule, quotient rule. We'll throw some of those on there. Okay. So that is the plan. We are going on to the chain rule tomorrow as well.